Going. Hi, we're on there. It's been a while since I've been with James from Reading College. I'll let James introduce himself and see what he's been up to. It's about a year almost since we've hung out. James, can you introduce yourself, what you've been up to?
Yeah. So I'm James Kieft, e-learning resources manager at Reading College. It's been a busy year. We kicked off our Google journey in September. We introduced accounts to all of the students at Reading College. Got a Google account, and I suppose the big push was Google Docs, collaborative working, and the surprise one for me was Google Plus Communities. It sort of stuck out of the woodwork, and students and staff loved it. They loved the interaction, the fact it was easy to post stuff and share stuff, and it's sort of the momentum has gathered to the point where we reach August, and we've decided that we're going to turn off our Moodle and use Google Plus Community as a way of sharing information and collaborating.
Well, that's quite amazing. We like Google Plus Communities. The teachers, it's been a kind of like a DIY approach to it. We had some people that were using Google Groups, and they've been using them for quite a few years, but they're very email-based generally and very old-fashioned. And some of them have switched to communities, and the students quite like it because it reminds them of Facebook. But when we tried to experiment using Facebook, the students didn't like that because I don't want you to see my private stuff, so that kind of thing. And so, much to the disappointment, I suppose, of Google, the communities and G Plus hasn't got quite the traction with the students in their personal lives as it has. But for an institutional, if you like, social network, it's been pretty cool. And well, you've gone a lot further because we've got a lot of people experimenting with communities on their own bat, but you've taken a more strategic view of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there's a number of things. It's interesting you mentioned Facebook. There was I was talking to a guy from I can't remember what it's called now, anyway, Association of Colleges, and he was saying that they did some research, and it said that Facebook students didn't like the fact that colleges were using Facebook because Facebook, as you've already said, is their personal space. So I think by going down the Google Plus route, very rarely do you get a student who says, well, I already have a Google Plus account.
Yeah.
So it's a new thing for them. I think you'd agree, we've got to a point where social media is here to stay now. It's a powerful tool, and the learners need to understand how to use it and how to have a personal side and a professional side. And I think what we're doing by going down the route of using communities, we're setting the learners up for the modern world, where they understand that social media can be used in a professional capacity for connecting with people, for working with people. And if we give them those skills at college, when they go into the world of work, they're better prepared. I mean, you always hear on the news that someone's got sacked for saying something wrong on social media. But we're giving those learners those skills here and now in a slightly more controlled, safe environment. They can be maximising them when they go off into the world of work.
That's exactly right, isn't it? It is. I don't know. Well, I remember, of course, MySpace a long time ago. But then, of course, yeah, the right Twitter and social media. So 2007. It's taken education quite a while to, I wouldn't say even embrace it, but sort of like to, well, more like assimilate it, I suppose.
Yes.
But definitely sort of to start bringing it in. I'm still getting staff, saying, can I block YouTube and social, Facebook, Twitter, and I think, well, anyway, that's a different conversation, I suppose. But social media is such a hot topic. It has been since it was introduced. But I'm quite amazed. So there's been discussions around in the educational technology world for quite a while about approaches to e-learning, or if you like to call it that, online learning. Because there's two different views. There's the institutional view, which is the platform view, and Blackboard, Moodle, or even the MOOCs now that we're talking about. And there's often a teacher's point of view, which is, the way I remember it, it's a more DIY, curational view. I remember when I started teaching, James, when at the dawn of computing almost, but it was before computing actually, really. When we had banders, we had overhead projectors, and I created my material and I carried it around. It was mine, and I could do with it as I wanted and present it, how I wanted. And I'm quite aware that there is this the institution. What IT has done is create these platforms for what they like to do: drill down, surveillance, and almost control of.
Yeah, you're right. It has. There's two functions, and I think only this year, only the coming year, will tell us whether we're getting enough of an understanding of how well students are engaging with these new platforms. I mean, in addition to communities, a number of courses have decided to set up a site, a Google site. And what surprised me is they're excited because they can customize the look and feel of this environment. And when they are using sites, we've obviously encouraged them to use analytics, so we can get some data. But I guess from an institutional point of view, what is their main aim? Well, it's success and achievement. That's the key driver. It's making sure that those are improving. And if those are improving, then stats-wise, from my perspective anyway, that's the biggest driver, isn't it? It's about getting those achievement, retention rates all being as good as they can, and making sure every learner who comes through the door achieves and progresses to the next stage. And I think hopefully this approach of giving the tutor some freedom to arrange and coordinate their platform in a manner that suits them will engage the learners more and will increase those stats.
I must say you've done quite a remarkable job then in persuading this to happen officially, strategically. That's quite remarkable. You must have a fairly good, interesting senior management team to take that on board, because usually, you know, a lot of the motivation around the platform approach, the MLE approach, is that we have a standardized, branded, if you like, look and feel, and everything looks the same, and they like that. They think that's what is necessary, that you do different courses under the same institutional banner and everything looks the same. In fact, the platform kind of constrains the teacher into, you know, a set of choices which are made for them. And so to make this teacher first, if you like, rather than institutional, it's quite. But how did you go about?
It's all about consistency. We said we wanted a consistent approach where all learners could engage on an online environment. The driver, as with all institutions, is anytime, anywhere, any device. That's the gold standard, shall we say. So learners want to be able to access their resources on the move. You look at the analytics on when they're doing their work, and they I don't know about you, but they seem to keep very different hours to me. So they like the fact that on their mobile phone, on the taxi back from the kebab stand, they can be checking their assignment, they can be doing this, they can be doing that. And the advantage of the Google platform is that all the apps are free, they work whether it's on iOS or Android, and they can access and connect wherever they are, whenever they want to. And that's been the biggest driver. It's that what we're saying is there's a consistency of approach in that all learners will be able to engage with resources and with peers and with staff anytime, any place, any device.
Yeah,
and that's the driver, and it seems to have, so far, have worked.
I think this is a really fundamental point coming out here, that you're talking about outcomes, aren't you? Really, you know, the end product, the assessment thing at the end, you know, all the achievement at the end. Whereas, in a sense, education's got obsessed with process and the control of process. You know, classroom inspections to make sure, you know, you're doing the teaching in a certain recognised way, that, you know. Whereas, in a sense, it almost doesn't matter. Just focus on achievement and whatever works. What I also like, James, is because I'm quite a fan of diversity. I mean, we talk about equality and diversity a lot in the context of institution, and then we've got here educational technology diversity and equality, if you like, diversity, because the platform approach gives you a monoculture, which, if you look,
it makes it hard, as you say, it makes it harder when you've got a range of learners from level 1 or entry level 3 all the way through to degree, and the challenge of a platform approach is that through the nature of platforms, either they need lots of customization at a local level, or you end up with a one-size-fits-all. There's always a risk of that, however skillfully you collate and present your materials. And having that flexibility means that all learners can engage with technology. It's back to that consistent message. You want learners to be able to engage with technology, and that engagement, depending on their level, will be in different ways. And by saying, well, actually, we've got a sort of independent approach where the key thing is that there is an engagement and there's technology involved. Is it key that it's a platform? Surely the important thing is that all learners get an online experience. And I think, hopefully, what we've seen so far, this delivers that across the board.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to keep in touch with you more regularly after. I'll see how this one goes, because I'm super interested in it, philosophically as well as technically as well. Definitely philosophically in this idea of diversity. You know, you can be more agile, more adaptive to what comes if you can pick and choose. You know, WeChat, Snapchat, Google, YouTube, Google Apps, sites, whatever. You know, yeah. I know you can use the platform to link up externals, but what tends to happen is that people kind of gravitate into, I won't say a black hole, but the gravitational force of the platform. In a sense, for me, it kind of de-skills, demotivates people. I like what you're doing because it gives the teacher a lot more, puts the teacher towards the front, doesn't it?
Well, it's all about empowering, isn't it? It's about empowering the teacher, it's empowering the students. It's saying, actually, teaching and learning takes the lead, and we want technology to assist that, not to dictate that. And that's very much it, isn't it?
Yeah, because this is you're talking all the way, because this is your field, not mine. Because I'm not an e-learning education technology. I'm a network manager type. You know, that's just not my. You're saying all the right things there, which I could articulate. It's about teaching and learning. A lot of the platform approach has been about almost disintermediating the teacher. I fear that, you know, the way, as I say, when I first started teaching, you know, I had a lot more. I won't say control, but I was able to do what I needed to do in the classroom for the teaching and learning. But I noticed, yeah, with a lot of the platforms, you know, it almost reinforces this intermediation of the teacher, so that you could bring in standard resources and almost teach without the teacher there. That's one of the fears of a lot of teachers, I notice. When they're asked to put resources into these MLEs, they're saying, well, you could then, I'll spend all my time, why should I share it? And then why, if I share it, I'll be made redundant. You won't need me anymore. I mean, the idea is you keep it up to date, but there is this fear of...
Well, I think that's where the social aspect takes it, because as we've said in previous conversations, the key thing, when I did my Cert Ed and I did other qualifications, where I learnt the most was with the social interaction with other people on the course. Yeah. And I think that was always going to be a challenge to replicate that with technology, because it's that connection that you make with others that really helps to enrich your learning experience, isn't it? That's from my perspective anyway.
Yeah, I was reading that a couple of weeks ago. There was some education research about the important factor of social. It's the most important factor, whether you're in a classroom or you're online with peers. That's the magic ingredient to learning, was the social interaction. And if I was to summarise what you're doing there, I'd say, you know, it's, I won't say the word is right, but predicated on the social learning aspect and empowering teaching and learning, and focusing on outcomes. That's brilliant, James. Okay, thanks. Is there anything?
I think that's it. Well, really good to catch up with you. We'll definitely touch base, and yeah, we'll talk soon.
Okay, good timing. There's a phone call going in the back. Yeah. Okay, thanks, James.
Thanks, Martin. Thanks.
Stop the broadcast and hit the button. I'm still.